Good morning. It appears as though we are live. What's everybody doing? Welcome. Can't see the chat. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Homebuilt Workshop. Welcome to Wednesday Live. We're live on a Wednesday. Oh, what's everybody up to? Let's see here. I need to be able to see chat. And I need to make sure that we're on the right settings for the chat because, well, you know. How we doing? What's going on? You guys are here. Right on. Look at this. As we adjust. And we're on live chat. There we go. Sam's here. Sam says, hello, everyone. Good morning, Sam. What's going on? Robert says, howdy, people. Hope everyone's doing well, staying safe and healthy. And Mike Johnson's here. What's up, Mike? Mike says, good morning to the early birds. Hope all is well. We're doing good. Early birds. Nothing wrong with early birds. Sam says, Jeff is just quickly brushing his hair, ready for the stream. I was brushing my hair. And Mike says, hope he does his teeth as well. Brush my teeth, brush my hair. Look, we're ready. We are ready. Mike says the reflection's too bright. Sorry, Mike. Do I have to? There is a weird glare on the screen here, and I'm not sure what's going on. I got it there. Oh, that's better. I can just lift it up so the glare's not as bad. Yeah, there is a little bit of a reflection there, huh? One of these days, I might get a little bit ambitious and actually shave instead of just taking the clippers. But it seems like one of those things that once you start, you sort of have to keep up with it, like all the time in order to keep it, you know. I don't know. That sounds like a lot of work. But I have seen those like razor things that you just like, whoosh, whoosh, you know, that sort of deal. And it makes that sound. Whoosh, whoosh. I'd probably cut myself somehow, though. I don't know. Robert's laughing. Oh, that's fun. Mike says, thumbs up and clicked. Oh, boy, I just clicked something, too, but it wasn't the thumbs up. Bam! Right on. Thank you. Yeah, everybody hit that thumbs up button early on. I don't know if the time when you hit the thumbs up makes a difference. But you know those algorithms, right? Like, everything is algorithm now. Everything. We have to feed the beast. And I don't like that. But anyway, I do appreciate hitting the thumbs up buttons and the shares and the subscribes and the likes and the comments and all the things. That's what you have to do. Algorithms. Harry Dude's here. What's up? How are we all? We are all good, Harry Dude. And how are you? Hope everything's going great. Strings attached. Says, I made it today. Right on. Welcome. Welcome. Hope you're doing good. And Mike says, it's fine. Just joking. It's all good. Let's see. Strings attached says, call in makeup to get in there and fix. Yeah. Put the powder or whatever they put on the head. I mean, I could probably do this. It'd be really dark. You know, that helps a little. Actually, that's not terrible, actually. It's a little bit dark, but I kind of like it. I don't know. What do you think? Or if I turn this one off, then my whole face gets dark. Yeah, see? I kind of don't hate that. Really. I don't know. Probably harder to see the rest of stuff that's going on, but that's not terrible, actually. Kind of dark in the background. I'm fairly well lit. That's not awful. I don't know. I don't know how it looks on your end, but it doesn't look awful here. I was just kidding, really, but I now kind of sort of like that. You guys tell me, do we leave it like that or do I turn the lights back on? Strings attached says that's better. Yeah. I almost need some other light just a little bit below. Huh. I don't know. I don't hate that. Sam says, I was watching a budget yourself video earlier of a guy making a homemade reciprocating saw from a battery drill, old modified hacksaw, and bits of junk. I must say, it looked sketchy as heck. It sounds pretty sketchy. But you know what? If it works, that's pretty cool, right? Use what you have and like hack something together. If I were to say that I've never hacked something together that was sketchy as heck but worked, I'd be lying. I mean, look about everything I've built. Oh, no, it's not that sketchy. I was going to say, look at my belt grinder. That's hacked together, which not necessarily hacked together, but it still works. Anyway, Mike says it looks good just the way it is. Well, I'm going to keep that in mind because I'm looking at the preview on the monitor and it doesn't look bad to me. I mean, I almost wish that my face was lit just a little bit more, but that's something that we could probably pretty easily remedy with another light of some sort. I think we could, I'm going to have to play with that. Brian, my hermit life says, good morning, hoping to listen in while I play hooky from the company this morning, or from the company meeting. Right on, welcome. Nothing like playing hooky from the meetings. Can't say I've never done that either. Although now I don't have to deal with too many of those company meetings because I usually have the meetings while I'm working on something and just meeting with myself. But yes, I've sat in a lot of meetings, and some of them I played hooky mentally while I was in the meeting, and others I just didn't go to, and I played hooky because I'm too busy. Or at least that's what I said. Yeah, right on. Robert says, just finished a late breakfast of an omelet with onion, chopped ham, and American cheese, and a couple slices of whole wheat toast and coffee. That sounds like an amazing omelet. That's one of my favorite things for breakfast. One of them. I love an omelet as long as it's got some good, onions, and I like peppers, onions, ham. I think they call it, I think it's called a Denver omelet. Ham, peppers, onions, and cheese. I think that's what they call it. Back east where I grew up, it wasn't called a Denver, it was just called a Western omelet, and that's my all-time favorite. But now I like it with all the stuff. Jalapenos, everything. You name it. That sounds good now. Now I kind of want an omelet. Now Robert says image looks fine here. Right on. Sam says, except for that power tool that almost burst into flames. Except for the power. Oh, yeah. Well, see, I mean, but speaking of that, did I tell you? I told you about that last week. Yeah, that's what you're talking about. That one almost burst into flames last week. I thought you were talking about something else for some reason, and I was going to tell you about that one that burst into flames, but I told you about that last week. Time Surfing says, someone steal your shave cream? No, I still have some. I probably need to a little bit, get everything kind of cleaned up a little. Maybe I'll do that tonight. I did get a haircut the other day. If you can't tell. Sam says, don't forget to try a British bacon buddy. Just don't Americanize it, or it's not British. Well, I mean, that's fair enough. I got something in my eye. Piece of dust or something. No, dust out here. So what's everybody working on? What kind of projects are on your bench? I'll show you what's on my bench, but I want to know what all of you are working on. What sort of builds do you have? Repairs, fixes, just projects in general. What are we fixing and working on? Mike says more light on the face would give you here's Johnny look from Jack Nicholson in The Shining. I mean, not a lot. I don't want a lot more, but you see the shadows? Like as I move around, I need to have enough light to not get those shadows. Yeah. Time Surfing. What's going on? Time Surfing says finger in your eye. I know. That's the thing. Robert says not sure about everyone else, but most meetings are mostly a waste of time. Agreed. Management seems to enjoy listening to themselves talk. Also agreed. Once in a great while, I would say that yes, something valuable came out of them. Mostly it was, yeah. I'm like, let me out of here. I need to be out on the floor where I can actually do something useful, not sitting in this dang meeting. Brian is working on turning on the lathe. Oh, cool. A bottle stopper and snowman. Yes, it is that time of year. It is. Very cool. Right on. Strings attached. Says a CBG on commish. Right on. You got to get the commish. I like that too. Commish. Speaking of CBGs, that's what I've been working on. And I'll show you where we're at on that very soon. I mean, like in just a minute or so. Robin says, hi guys. What's up, Robin? Good morning. Brian says, in Snowman, bottle stopper. Very cool. Yes. Turning projects. Yeah, that's awesome. Time Serpent says, I was in management, never heard a word from the employees. I can imagine that. I was not ever in like salary management. I was lead, like on the floor, production floor lead. So I got to deal with the people that actually got the work done. Not so much with, I mean, I was kind of the liaison, I guess, between management a lot of times, but thankfully, I actually got to work with the people on the floor, which was really awesome. And honestly, that's the thing that I miss the most. If I think about, working in the corporate world, I miss working with all the people. I worked with so many awesome people, and who became friends over the years and all that stuff. So yeah, I got to work with all of them, and then unfortunately, I was still in the position where I had to go to all the darn meetings, and it was the worst of meetings. Can we just go do some work? Here, dude says I'm in parts ordering mode. Oh, horn diaphragms and guitar pots and parts. Ooh, that was me a couple weeks ago. I don't think I mentioned it really. Well, maybe I did. Ordering parts for. No, I did. I talked about some of the parts last week that I bought those frets and stuff. Between getting parts for the cigar box guitar, which I'll show you in a second, and ordering just a couple of preliminary things for the upcoming multi-scale build that I'm going to be doing. Yeah, ordering parts. It's amazing. Not really, but how quickly the costs of everything add up now. It's nuts. So I know what you mean. I know what you mean, hairy dude. That's cool. But it is kind of fun, though, browsing the parts and ordering things. I don't know. I enjoy it, but yet I don't because it's so expensive anymore. Mike says, oh, come on. Got the work done. That's a long discussion. Robert says, I wish I could attach a web link to the chat. I was watching a YouTube short the other day where a guy was making a wooden latch for a jewelry box type of box. It looks so cool. For some reason, that sounds familiar. I don't think I watched the video, but I feel like maybe the preview came up in my feed. I may be wrong on that. Hair Dude says, most of the people is exactly the reason why I don't miss corporate work. I mean, yeah, there's definitely some that, I don't necessarily miss, but a lot of the people that I used to work with, yeah, just the team that I worked with was really cool. Sam, there's the super chat. Says, download the cell phone ringtone. It puts the location. Oh, says for coffee. Thank you, Sam. Speaking of coffee, a big coffee cheers to all of you. And Sam, thank you for the super chat. And the flies. Why did the flies all of a sudden turn up? What's up with that? Strings Attached says, I have so many parts for so many projects. Just need to build from what I have and not go for the cheap dopamine from buying something. Yeah, that's something that I try to do. I try to avoid buying things. I mean, just about any time I can possibly do so. Because, well, it costs money. But yeah, I like to try to use what I have. But, sometimes you just don't have the thing you need on hand and you have to just order it. And yeah, it happens. But I know what you mean. So, speaking of projects, let me show you where we're at on the cigar box guitar. We're gaining on it. We're gaining on it. So, right here's the here's the box. It is almost ready to bolt in everything. I just put these little corner accent pieces on this morning, which really kind of spruced up the box actually quite a lot. So all of the hardware is gold. I think I mentioned that I ordered chrome hardware at first because I wasn't thinking, and went back, ordered gold hardware, and I've got most of it installed. We got the neck grommets in here. That goes right into some blocks on the inside. Epoxied in some little grommets there, brass grommets. So the box is about ready to put the neck. Well, the neck will go in, and I've already had it bolted on. But really, the next step is going to be attaching the neck, and I got to locate the bridge, and that's about all that's left here. And then I'll figure out where I'm going to drill for a volume and tone control. But it's probably gonna be, I don't know, right about there. But been working on the box, and then the neck. I've showed you the neck last week, but it didn't look like this. So I think last week we just had a fretboard glued on there, a slotted fretboard. Now we've got fretboard position markers, we've got side dot markers, and we've got gold frets installed. Still haven't shaped the neck yet, but that is coming up. Oh man, actually I'm probably ready. Probably will be the next step, actually, now that I think about it. Get the neck shaped. I just finished up, like I said, I just put these gold corners on this box this morning. Now I'm going to edit that. That's going to be part 3 of this build. And then part 4, I think, I'm kind of planning it in my head right at this moment. I think we'll jump right in and we'll get this neck shaped. And then I'll be able to attach that directly to the box, locate the bridge. Man, I might be able to finish it in the next episode. Might be 4 episodes. We'll see. But yeah, coming along really good. I really like how this neck looks. I'm not typically a fan of gold hardware. I don't know, it's just not my favorite color. It looks super classy though, and with this gold on the sticker on the cigar box, I think the gold, everything else being gold, looks super cool. I'm really liking how this is going to look. And if I was in the market for one of these for myself, if I didn't already have a couple of them, I probably would have built this as a lefty for myself because I really like this box, but I didn't. It's a righty, and really looking forward to getting this done. I've been really liking this build. I just think it looks cool. And just for fun, yesterday or day before, I don't know, yesterday, I wanted to see how much sound comes out of these little sound holes. I took my phone and I just played some music on it, and I put it inside the box, and a surprising amount of sound was coming out of this. I was kind of impressed. So I think it's going to work pretty good. You know, acoustically, it's going to have a pickup, and that's going to be its main purpose. But knowing that some sound does come out of there from inside the box was kind of cool. So I'm really excited to get this one together. And like I said in the videos for it, part 1 and 2 are both up on the channel. If you haven't seen either one of them, go over there and check them out. I'm trying to include a little bit more detail in there. You know, sometimes in an effort to keep a video a little bit shorter or to move the project forward, sometimes I'll leave certain things out, but I'm trying to include all that stuff this time around. So, like I said, that means, you know, maybe a little bit more video, a couple more episodes or something like that. And I want to encourage everyone, you know, if there's something that I didn't cover and you want to know, leave the comment on that video and I'll answer that question. But oh, I didn't show you this though. I wonder if I can get it up close. I need a different angle. It's crushed mother of pearl with a little copper tube around the outside. It's kind of hard to see in this light, but the fretboard inlays turned out really neat. Crushed mother of pearl. Alrighty, let's see. Robert says the box he made looked almost like cherry. The latch he made out of what looked like walnut. Used a finger joint jig to make the interlocking fingers of the latch. That is cool. That is super cool. Sam says, can you imagine having such a ringtone and receiving a sale in a shopping mall? Yes, that would be funny. From Silence of the Lambs. What is with these flies? This is ridiculous. String Detached says, I'm using gold. Oh, the one I'm building right now? Oh, on the one I'm building? So nice when the box has gold on it. Yes. See, so I screwed up the first time around, and I ordered chrome. Like the chrome bridge and everything, because I typically like chrome or black. But I got ahead of myself, honestly, and in an effort to get the parts on their way, I just went on there, click, 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 add to cart, order, and didn't really pay attention. And then I started actually working on things and realized that the gold on the box, I'm like, well, that's going to be chrome bridge clashing with the gold. I'm like, I can't do that. So I had to go back, place another order. The upside is that, well, now I've got a chrome bridge and chrome tuners for another build. So I've already got the parts, most of them anyway. Yeah, so like you said, when the box has gold on it, it just blends everything together. And I've built a couple other ones with gold, and it just looks so nice when you match the accents on the box. It's super cool. I really like that. Sam says British have a dark sense of humor. Nothing wrong with that, and I don't think it's just British. Robert says looks good on the cigar box. Thanks, Robert. I'm definitely looking forward to getting this one together. Like I said, maybe in the next episode, but I kind of don't think so. I think I'll get the neck carved and probably the finish applied on the neck and all that sort of thing. Maybe that'll be the next episode. And then maybe one more after that where I will actually install the electronics. There's one thing that I've got to figure out. And I think I know what I want to do. On the pickup, I was kind of brainstorming this with myself yesterday. So the pickup, it's going to sit somewhere in this location. I don't want to cover the words, so it's going to be more of a bridge kind of pickup. It's a surface mount, so I'm going to have to drill a hole down through the lid to get the wire down in there. But there's always a but, right? The problem is one that I've created myself, and that is the fact that the neck is in the way. So I have to drill a hole down through the lid. It's going to go into the neck. I think I'm just going to drill a hole right down through it, and then I can bring the wires out over here. I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. I thought about maybe just taking a little Dremel and just going zip, zip, like a little notch. That actually might be easier now that I think more about that. Figure out exactly where the hole's going to go through, take the Dremel and just route, that little, just a Dremel with this little straight cutting bit and just, actually, that might be easier. I might do that instead. Just cut a notch just to allow the wire to be able to go through the lid and out the side where it'll get wired. And then I'll probably put volume tone kind of right here. That's what I'm thinking. I thought about just going straight to the output jack. What do you guys think? I'm actually, maybe I should do that. Those of you that have played an instrument like this, or really even a guitar in general, do you ever mess with your tone control? I don't, but that's me. My tone control stays wide open all the time. I do use a volume occasionally, like at the end of songs and things, roll it down. I don't even know if I need a tone control on this, but maybe I might. I might just do it because I don't know what this one's ultimately going to be for sale, and I want whoever purchases it to have options. So I probably will. I'll just do volume tone, no selector switch or anything, just a single pickup. Yeah, I think I will. I'll stick with volume tone my original plan. Sam says, perhaps borrow the Amish idea of hanging furniture from wall rails. It's a great idea for easy cleaning. I love that. I grew up in Pennsylvania. There's there certain areas anyway have a large Amish presence. So it's not something that's new to me. I love that they do that peg rail, and you hang chairs, you hang all that kind of stuff. It's super cool. I don't know. I don't know if they like all of the families still do that, but I know exactly what you're talking about, and I do like that idea. Strings attached. .ca. I designed a nice pickup frame for those pickups. You're welcome to my STL file. I would love to check it out. I purchased the one that they sell for it with the brass plate. I may make it, or not brass, that's copper. I may make one out of brass so that the color matches. I don't know if I have any of that thickness. I might have to buy some. I would love to see what you've come up with, because I was just going to stick this to the body with hot glue. Part of me isn't crazy about that idea. So I don't know. I'd love your thoughts on it though, and some creative ways you've worked with that, and I definitely appreciate the STL offer. Yeah, I would totally check it out for sure, because I've been kind of trying to figure out the best way to do this. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thank you. I'm not crazy about this design, quite honestly. After seeing it, I thought it was going to be something that actually held the pickup down, but it's not. It's literally just a cover. So there's something I don't really like about that. Not anybody's fault. I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting. I wish there was an actual way to mount this. Maybe some like some screw tabs right here, or I don't know, something. Maybe the thing slides into a deal and that has screws. That's what I was thinking about, maybe making something of my own. Something that this can slide in, and then that has screw holes, and then you can make your own plate sort of deal. I don't know. We'll see what I end up doing with that when the time comes. But yeah, I'd love to check out your idea for sure. Robert says, if you wanted, you could build your own cigar box size box to your own specs to build using parts you already have. Yeah, absolutely could. You absolutely could. Or I'll just get some more boxes too. You could always do that, right? And use up the parts that I have. But yeah, I've thought about that. Just building some boxes. Because one thing I've noticed, sometimes these aren't built all that great. If I can get this neck back out of here. There is, probably can't, maybe you can, if I get the angle right. See this right here, this gap? I didn't put this in. This is like this inner thing. Didn't fit down all the way. I had to kind of square up a little bit of the corners because it wasn't exactly square. But I mean, they're not building it. They're building it to hold, cigars or whatever. They're not. So it's not really a big deal. The cigars don't care if the box is just slapped together. But when you are trying to make something square, I guess, it does matter. You could build it nice and square if you build it yourself. You have more control over the quality. Harry Dude always has cool idea. Maybe a wheel style volume pot that sticks out the bottom or the side, like the ones that poke out from under a pick guard. That would be kind of cool, actually. That would be neat. I don't know how much room you need. See, the challenge is with this particular box anyway. I don't know the depth, how much depth you need. This box has been sitting on the shelf because it's so shallow. This is the shallowest box I've ever worked with. There is not a lot of room on the sides because when you open it, it splits it in half. And you have all of these, this liner and all that stuff, which I could take out. But it doesn't leave you very much space. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you could put it up through the top, which would be kind of neat, right? Little rotary thing. I just don't know the depth that you'd need to have. I'd have to order one and see. But that's a cool idea. I like that. I got to keep that in mind. Maybe I'll investigate just to see the depth. If it would fit inside this box, I definitely have time to order one. What is this? Oh, it's only about an inch. It's not a lot. Can't see it. If I could see that, if I could read this ruler, that would be great. And I grabbed the metric ruler. Here, dude. Looks like 26.5, 27 millimeters, something like that. So just over an inch. It's not a lot of room. So if it'll fit within an inch, I could do it with a rotary. And what a cool idea, though. Yeah, that would be neat. That'd be different. Sam says, is it possible to make an electric guitar from a tree branch with a little foliage on it? That would be kind of neat. I'm sure it would be possible. The only thing that really comes to mind that way would be it's not going to be dry, right? Now, if you're just doing it for like a novelty, something or other, who cares? That would be fun. But if it's got foliage on it, it's definitely not dry. And you basically saw a branch off, carve it out, make it work, and then it would dry and crack and probably fall apart. But but it would be neat. Birdie Erdy says, good morning, Jeff and chat. Good morning. How's your day going? Strings Attached says, the frame they sold me wasn't thick enough. Oh, it's plastic, so you'd have to paint it. But I used it on a PlayStation guitar, so the gray plastic matched. Ah, I gotcha. Yeah, this one looks tall enough for the pickup. Actually, flies, but this is ridiculous. I think the size, the depth of this one would work. But really, painting, that's no big deal. You could even use some of that gold spray paint just to keep the color theme going or something like that. Or red or black or white. Any of that would work with that box. Paul's here. Paul, what's going on? Paul says, greetings, everyone. Greetings, Paul. How are you doing? And Me Got Wood, what's going on? Me Got Wood says, good morning, Jeff. Loving that guitar. Looks great. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this has been a fun one. We're getting there. We got some more of the accents on here. The next step is like I said, carving the neck, and I think that's gonna be the next step, getting everything shaped. So yeah, I'm having fun with this one. Oh, let's see. Paul says, hope everyone is doing well. Paul, we're doing great. I hope you're doing well as well. Kizzy's here. Kizzy, what's going on? Kizzy says, good morning. Good morning, Kizzy. How's everything going? Hope you're doing great. Paul says, StuMag sells Shatton thumbwheel controls, which are only about 3/16 deep. There you go. That would work. Harry Dude, look beyond the traditional guitar pots. You could try PCB mount mini pots and 3D print a wheel to fit. See, Harry Dude, you always have Harry Dude always comes in with the wise words. Look beyond the guitar stuff. I don't know about you guys, but I 100% can say that I do tend to get tunneled into I'm building a guitar, so I got to find a thing for the guitar, right? I do, not intentionally, but I don't know. I feel like probably all of us have a tendency to do that in one way or another. And sometimes it takes Harry Dude to say, "Hey, stop, stop looking down the tunnel. There's other things that you can use." So thank you, Harry Dude. I need that once in a while. Yeah, you're right. Huh? Yeah. Strings Attached says those pickups sound really good. Just use the flat one. Oh, I'll use the pickup for sure. I'm not mad at the pickup whatsoever. I'm just not thrilled with the mounting options. Sam, you need an electric fly zapper. Yeah, well, see, the funny thing is the flies haven't been all that bad. Yesterday, the day before, they weren't terrible. But I don't know what it is about today, other than the fact that I turned the heat on in here early. And I think the heat, when it's still cold outside, I think the heat draws them in. I don't know if they're like waiting in line at the door, so as soon as I open the door to walk in, they all just whoosh. I don't know. That's the only thing I can come up with. Strings Attached. I love tellies. I want to build a telly headstock for a CBG. Hold, please. Like this? That is mine. This is what I started out building them as. Basically, I took the telly headstock. This is my earliest template. I don't know if I have a date on here. I don't. I didn't date it. But I basically took a telly headstock and shrunk it to fit, an 1.5 inch wide neck. But this is what I built my first, I don't know, 4 or 5, half a dozen cigar box guitars with. But then I made my own headstock design that I use for my Haley guitars, electric guitars, and I shrunk that down exactly the same way. And now this is what I use. This is my actual template right here. That's what I use for cigar box builds, as you can see right there. Which is, it's slightly based on a telly. The only, like on my electric guitars, I do a little cutout right here, and that's where the logo goes. But since the headstock is so much smaller, I don't do the cutout on a cigar box guitar because I don't want the logo to be smaller, because then it's going to get pretty small. But yeah, that's exactly what I do. So I say, go for it. Use a telly headstock. I think it looks pretty cool. Telly headstock has always been one of my favorites, even before I ever considered building a guitar. I don't know why I always had a like for tellies. I don't know what about the headstock. That I think that I like the telly headstock so much better than the Strat headstock myself. But yeah, go for it. I did it just because I felt the same way as you. I wanted a telly headstock. I love the telly headstock. So yeah, give it a go. Shoe fly. Oh, let's see here. Me got wood. What are you working on these days? What's on your workbench? And Paul too. Paul, what are you working on? Yeah, so I gotta get back to I'll get some more work done on this cigar box. Right now I'm working on editing part 3 of the build. Hopefully that'll be out not this weekend, next weekend. This weekend though, I wrapped up another project. I think I mentioned that. I actually installed a helical head cutter head in my jointer. And wow, what a difference that made. So that video is coming out this weekend of installing that. And then the following weekend will be part 3 of this build, which I'm editing right now. And then part 4 will get the neck carbon. I'm sort of building out the schedule in my head, and then we'll go from there. But that's the plan. That's the plan. But I am looking forward to getting this done because, like I mentioned, I want to get on that new Dorian build. I'm excited about that Dorian build. And I think what I'm afraid of is that if I don't get on it and get started before long, I'm afraid that I'll lose my excitement for it. I don't want that to happen. Let's see here. Are we still good? I'm gonna check these. Check the things. Looks like we are. Everybody still here? What is this? Why is that here? All right, you guys still there? I don't see. It seems like my computer's frozen or something, but flies are absolutely ridiculous. There we go. Okay. Yeah, we're not frozen. Sam says you could 3D print dust extraction hose adapters that go from a large diameter to a hose size. They will sell well. I've made some of those for my own use. Yeah, they work pretty good. I never tried to sell them though, but it's not a bad idea. I missed him. How did I miss him? Strings attached says here. Right on. Good. Thank you. Sam says I'm here. Birdie Erdy says I saw a mini Tesla coil fly zapper. Maybe build one of those. That'd be cool. But you know what? If I build something electronic that zaps, guess who's gonna get zapped? I'll give you one guess. This guy. I don't need to get zapped. Me and electricity are not friends. That'd be kind of cool. Tesla coil zapper thingy. Oh, birdie. Yeah, laugh it up. I don't, I know how to safely work with it, but, I don't know anybody that enjoys being shocked. Like, I don't know if I could ever actually be an electrician. No, I could, because I've done a lot of that work before, but yeah, I don't know. Sam says, YouTube waited for your reply before slapping me with 2 unskippable ads. I didn't hear what you said. Oh, doggone it. I said, you said I could print the dust hose adapters. And I said that I've made some of those for my own use, and they've worked out really well, but I just never thought to sell them. I would love to have like several items like that would just sell regularly. And I keep posting things up there, and things go decently, but nothing sells a ton, which isn't, I don't know. I just don't know how they'd sell. They might sell good. Birdie Hurdy says, I only laugh because I'm terrible with electrical current as well. I've been zapped many times. I've been zapped a lot too, but I did spend quite a bit of time in the previous corporate world working with our our facility electrician. Actually, I've worked with a couple of our different locations different facility electricians, and man, they were awesome. They knew their stuff, and both of them taught me a lot of things. Made sure they do things safe and that they're teaching you the safe way. I am by no means an electrician, but I feel like I was fortunate enough to be able to have worked with quite a few, or a couple of very skilled electricians who taught me a lot, and I'm thankful for that knowledge. So I don't get shocked too much, but I'm not out there wiring buildings and houses and that sort of thing. That's a whole different animal. I spent a lot of time helping pull wires, wire outlets and receptacles and all that sort of thing. But yeah, I am not an electrician. And I too have been zapped a fair bit of time. The worst, I think what really made me shy away from electricity is being on the farm, right? Growing up on a farm. Electric fences are the worst. I've been shocked by all of them, seems like. Let's see. Kizzy says, is there a name for the device that shoots out a net that traps what you're shooting? Or is that just a Spider-Man gadget? It sounds like a Spider-Man gadget, but I don't really know. There might be some sort of actual use gadget, but it sounds like a Spider-Man gadget. Shoots a net. Sam says, that would be cool. Oh, look who's here. Rick's here. Rick says hello to Jeff and chat. Hope all is well today. Rick, we're doing great. How about yourself? Hope you're doing well. Sam says electric fence pulse shocks are a pain. Yeah, a huge pain. They are not fun. There's a fly. I can't get him. He's right in a weird spot. Little side story, right? Has nothing to do with guitar building or any of that sort of stuff. So on the farm, right, in the summertime is when we get really busy. Of course, because we're trying to do hay, and put up a whole barn full of hay for the winter. Well, when you get really busy, you hire, seasonal help, high school kids or, whatever, to come on and help stack hay and all that stuff. Well, we had a barn. One of the barns you had to get to, you had to kind of go through a gate to get out into the adjacent pasture. And you had one of those gate handles. Those of you that are familiar, it just has a little spring on there. And so you just unhook it from the gate, and then the handle is insulated so that the electric current, when it's hooked up, can flow all the way through, but it's insulated handle. So you can grab a hold of it and you unhook it, you pass through the gate, you hook it back up, and you go on about your business. Well, we had this one handle. The handle was pretty old, right? So, and it had a little crack in it. Well, almost all of the time, it was completely fine. Even though it had a crack, it wouldn't shock you. Except for those mornings when there was a heavy dew, right? If there was a heavy dew, which is typically, not typically, but, like the earlier mornings when there's the dew. Anyway, I'm losing my train of thought here. When you grab that with a heavy dew, it would shock the daylights out of you. But it wasn't immediately, right? So most of the time, you'd grab a hold of it and you'd unhook it and you'd start to walk over to set it down. And you'd get 1, 2, 3 steps away. And then, I don't know if it would, take that long for your hand to shove the dew into the crack, and then it would light you up. But anyway, where I'm going with this is, in the summertime, we'd have this, the temporary help, these high school kids or even junior high or whatever would be there to help. So they'd be helping you do chores before you really got busy. And you'd come to this gate. We used to come to this gate. Hey, can you jump out and, grab that gate handle, right? Us being, well, we knew what was going to happen. Let's just put it that way. Oh yeah, sure. They're eager to help, and they'd go out and they jump out and they grab the gate and they'd be walking back across, and all of a sudden, zap! They'd get lit up and the gate handle would go flying. And I'd be like, oh, gotcha. So you got to watch out for that. Don't touch the fence. Laughing inside. But yeah, it was bad. We used to make them go get the gate. We were terrible. Oh boy. Anyway, Rick says awesome. Right on. Kizzy says imagine a tiny one for flies. Oh yeah. Poof. That would be neat. uh, Rick says, oh wow. Kizzy says it didn't hurt my hands. It took me out at the knees. Yeah. Oh yeah, we were terrible. Yeah, it's a weird feeling when an electric fence hits you. It, it's yeah, it's not fun. Sam, do 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 do. That's a moist tune. Oh boy, da-dum. Sam. Oh boy. Alrighty. Well, anyway, moving right along, as they say. Yeah, so I got to get back to doing some editing. Get this part 3 edited, uh, so I can get this guitar done. I'm excited. I'm excited. Paul says, never pee in electric fences. Ask me how I know. Yeah, Paul, I've, I've been shocked enough by the fences to know that I wouldn't, no, I wouldn't do that. Never. That thought never crossed my mind to actually try it. I remember being, I don't know, 10, 12, 10 years old, maybe 10, 12, somewhere around, I mean, pretty young, and getting shocked by my grandpa's electric fences. And his were almost always half shorted out anyway because the grass always grew up so tall. But yeah, I've been shocked for a long time. I never really thought, never really, yeah, no. Sam says, thank you for the fantastic stream today, Jeff. Well, Sam, thank you for being here and being part of the fantastic stream. We still got a little bit of time. Paul says, got dared as a kid. Yeah, see, I think I got shocked young enough to know that you ain't gonna dare me to touch it, no matter what. And even like the gate handle that we used to, that would shock you when the dew was on there. I never that one, it puts enough of a fear in you that I just don't want to mess with. Rick says, Jeff, what are your thoughts on Stanley staple guns? Rick, I mean, really, I don't have a huge opinion on them. I think I have a Stanley staple gun, and what can I say? It staples. It works. I think they're fine. Now mine is probably 15 years old. I don't know if the newer ones are of any different quality, but mine just works. I don't know. It works fine for what I use it for, which is not very much, but when I do, it works. I think it's fine. I don't have any opinion on any of the electric ones because I don't own an electric stapler. I kind of would like to have one, for putting up like Christmas lights and stuff. I think it'd be a lot easier for certain things than trying to, squeeze the handle. I will say that mine is one of the, traditional style. Let me just grab it. Hang on. Mine's just one of the traditional style. And this is, oh, I stand corrected. Rick, this is not a Stanley. This one is my old one, I think, was a Stanley. This is an Arrow brand, the same brand that makes a lot of the staples. I stand corrected. Arrow fastener. The one before this I had was a Stanley. What was I thinking? This was a Stanley. But anyway, my Stanley was the same as this. And sometimes this is a little awkward, depending on the angle that you're trying to shoot them in. I've seen them where they reverse the handle, and I do think that would be better. But I mean, I don't know. I don't use it very often, and yeah, it totally threw me off. I thought this was a Stanley. It is not. But still, the Stanleys are the same thing. I don't know. That's about that's about all I have. Is there something you're looking for? You're looking to get one or replace one or something like that? Strings Attached says, I've done all the stupid things as a kid and some as an adult. I've probably done more as an adult than as a kid. Yeah, probably. And I've done a lot of stupid stuff as a kid, too. Rick says, I just hate it when they jam. Oh, I know exactly what you mean. It's the worst. It just gets a knot in there. This one's done it a time or two. But, yeah, I don't know. Sam says, don't make a makeshift fence with 240. The local wildlife doesn't like it and tend to go in and a puff of smoke. A friend knew someone that did it in their yard. Wow, that's crazy. I can imagine. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good idea. I don't recommend it either. Probably would trip the breaker or blow the fuse. Rick says, okay. Sorry, Rick, I don't have a whole lot of thoughts there, I guess, for you, but yeah, I don't know. Rick says, I got one and found that when you add WD-40, they work great. I'm going to have to try that. A little squirt of WD-40 in there. That's a good tip. I never tried that. Sam says, I got an electrician's cable staple gun. I needed to sort out messy cables. That's what I have. This one has the little adapter on the end. And that's usually what I use. I use this for like putting up Christmas lights and stuff. And that little thing keeps the end off of the wire so that you can staple the wire without pinching the wire. You just got to make sure the wire is, in fact, in that little groove, because I have missed before and run the staple right through the wire. Kizzy says, what are you stapling? Yeah, that's a good question too, Rick. What are you mainly using it for? Usually you're looking for something for staples or of course for staples. For stapling cables or just flat, stapling stuff down. Yeah, we would like more information. Anything in particular or just in general? Mine I use just in general. If I need to pull that off, it just slides off. Kizzy, good question. Rick says, well, the cats are shredding the furniture. So you're trying to staple that back up. Yeah, so you don't need the electrical thing for that. Just to patch it back together. Fly, would you go somewhere else? Oh, Sam says electrician staples are plastic inside. Oh, I know what you mean. Never mind. I'm with you now, Sam. Thank you for clarifying. Yeah, and you don't run them through a staple gun. You're like tap them in with a hammer. Yeah. I just got an error saying OBS is disconnecting. So I don't know if we're losing. I don't know. We may have lost the stream. I'm not sure. Hopefully not. But I just got an error saying OBS was freaking out. Francisco's here. Says hello, Jeff. How are you, Francisco? Good morning. I'm doing well, thank you. Right on. How are you doing? And what are you working on? Paul says, gotta go. Have a great week, Paul. Right on, Paul. You have an awesome week as well. Birdie Erdy says, seems fine. Sam says, you're fine. Interesting. I wonder why it's set up. Just got a pop-up that said, disconnecting, experiencing difficulties, reconnecting, your connection, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what's going on. Who knows? Good. I'm glad it's working. So, yeah, guys, anything else? Any other questions, comments, suggestions? Anything you want to chat about? Like I said, I'm working on this cigar box, trying to get that wrapped up. This week's video is the swapping out the helical head in my jointer, getting rid of those clunky straight knives, which, man, what a difference that makes. Rick says it's a YouTube thing. It might be. Yeah, you can't connect to or something like that. Birdie Erdy says, do you ever put active pickups in your builds? Everything that I have built, I have not put active pickups in. I've used active pickups. I put active pickups in a friend's guitar, route the battery box, all that sort of thing. So I have done active pickup installs, but I don't use them in my builds. Mainly because, I don't know, it's kind of I don't know what the word is I was looking for. My personal opinion is that I'm not a fan of the batteries. I love the sound of active pickups, but I just don't like to have to remember to put batteries in there, right? So it seems like I don't like when batteries die. We were talking about the digital calipers, I think last week. When I go to use them, they're always dead. I used to use batteries in pickups or in guitar effects pedals, and the batteries are always dead when you can least afford to have them be dead. And I have not personally experienced that with active pickups because I don't own a guitar with active pickups. But that's what I imagine happening. Playing in bands for years, bass players have active pickups in their basses, and I have been there when they're like, what's going on? My bass sounds terrible. It's not working. And turns out that the battery is just about dead and it's not putting out enough juice. I don't like that. Coming from, playing so many live shows, that was just something that I never wanted to get into because if I can remove one point of failure, that was always my goal. Am I against active pickups? No, I'm not. Like I said, I love the way they sound. I just don't like the battery thing. And if there was a way to connect a power supply, which you probably could, I'll bet you could do that somehow through some sort of fancy guitar cable wiring or something. But like I said, I like the way they sound. I just don't like that failure point to where if the battery dies, you don't just have passive pickups at that point. Although there may be a way around that as well. I'd just rather not mess with it. I think there's definitely a benefit of having active pickups in a bass, but I also don't think that it's necessary either. I've just seen too many times where the batteries have died, and I just don't like that. I just don't like that. Again, not against them whatsoever. Just rather not have that failure point. If I can eliminate one cause of a headache when you're trying to, set up in minutes for a live show, I don't want to have to mess with that. If any of you have ever played, not like the cover band. A cover band, we would typically play the entire night, so you weren't always in a hurry to set up as fast as possible. But coming from the original band side, when we would be going to set up for a show, typically you're playing on 3 or 4 bands that evening, right? So you gotta and no matter where you fall, unless you're that very first band who typically gets a little bit more time to set up, everybody after that, I mean, your goal is to get on the stage and set up as fast as possible so that you can keep, so that everything keeps moving forward. Like they'll give you a schedule and you might only have 10, 15 minutes to get the old band off, get your band on, set up, and by not having to troubleshoot stuff, makes it a lot easier to not have to mess with it. So that's a very long-winded way of saying no. I don't put actives in my builds, but I'm not against them. And, if somebody was wanting them, I could totally do that. Sam says, do you prefer Snap-on tools or cheap Snap-off versions? For what I do, definitely do not buy Snap-on. There's absolutely nothing wrong with Snap-on. It is just not my price range for what I do. It's kind of like, I don't know, buying StuMac tools for working on guitars, or something from some other place, which is usually, well, StuMac is sometimes they do multiple versions too. But I don't know where I was going with that analogy. I like Snap-on tools. I just don't buy them. Kizzy says DeWalt stapler is easier on the hands, but if you're reupholstering, the Aero pneumatic stapler is cheap and great. It takes the same staples if you already have the tank. Good to know. I do have a pneumatic stapler. I don't think it's an Aero brand though. I don't remember what the brand is. Sam, the DeWalt electrician's staple gun is a great tool. Oh, I'll have to look into that if I ever need electrician staples. Rick says, I'm not a fan of active pickups. Yeah, for the reasons I just said, just because of the battery thing. Harry Dude says, passive pickups with an active preamp that can be switched off when the battery dies. Best of both worlds. Big fan of EMG P-Bass active pickups. Nice. There you go. With an active pickup. So the battery dies, you turn it off, and you still have passive pickups. Now I could get behind that. And I've not used one of those. I could definitely see the advantage. Kizzy says, wonder what a pure metal acoustic would sound like solid steel or even copper. Probably messy, huh? Who makes those? I've seen them. They make them. It's like out of, I don't know if it's stainless or not, but I think it's more like a resonator kind of guitar where the body's metal and then it's got the metal resonator cone. Yeah, I think they're cool. I love a resonator. I love the sound of that. I wouldn't mind building one, actually. Sam, short answer, you prefer Temu. Yeah, no, I've never ordered a single thing from Temu. I tried to go on there and look at stuff, but it seems as though you have to download the app. I don't want the app. I wanted to just look on their website and see what the deal was. Kizzy says, well, with upholstery, you have wider staples. If you have the nail stapler gun, it probably only takes narrow crown staples. I don't know. It's in a box. I was going to drag it out of there, but I don't know if I can. I think it's more of an upholstery type staple gun. It doesn't take crown nails or any of that sort of thing. It is absolutely a staple gun. Harry Dude says, Dobro resonator, like on the Dire Straits Brothers in Arms album cover. Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking of. I can't picture the album cover at the moment, but they definitely make all metal body acoustic guitars, resonator style instruments. In fact, I'm gonna have to look it up here, and then we got to wrap this up. I think that at the guitar show, I showed him in one video. Dobrato makes resophonic vibrato systems for resonators and stuff. I don't know if he makes those. Oops. Hey, hush. Let's see. I'm going to look it up. Dobrato resophonic guitars. If you guys want to look this up, they're in Colorado. I don't know if he makes all metal ones or not, but he's got that cool B-bender thing for the Dobrato that they made. They designed it. Just look it up anyway. You can listen to some of the clips. Yeah, I don't see an all metal one. But it's super cool. Like his whole ordeal. Yeah, I don't see a metal one, but he definitely does Dobrato, the resonator guitars, and they sound so neat. I'm not going to spend a ton of time here looking at these, but yeah, it's just a regular acoustic, but resonator. Oh wait. Yeah, you guys go check it out. He doesn't have an all metal one on there, but it got me thinking that maybe he might. All right, let's see. Sam says you can make your electrical connections using ferrules on the cable ends. Yeah, there's a bunch of different ways. Absolutely. What is this? Oh. So anyway, guys, I think it's about time. We're going to wrap this up. I'm going to get back to doing a little bit of editing. And then I gotta take the car to the tire shop, and I'm due for a rotate and balance. Sometime today I gotta get up there, get that done. Not looking forward to that because I usually have to wait. It usually takes like an hour and a half just to get a rotation, but whatever. Hopefully it won't be busy today. I gotta do that at some point, but most importantly, I gotta get to editing on this next episode. So make sure you pay attention. Pay attention? Keep an eye out. That's what I want to say. Keep an eye out for the video this weekend. Swapping out the helical head in my jointer, and super fun, and made quite a big difference. Sam says, I just received 4 adverts. What? Rick says, I want my MTV. Yes. Kizzy says, have a great week. Sam, thank you for the stream today. Be safe, everyone. Rick says, have a good day. Jeff, right on. You guys, thank you for tuning in. Always my pleasure to hang out with all of you. And dare I say, the highlight of my week. Actually, it really is. Harry Dude says, cheers, everyone. Be well. You too, Harry Dude. Have a great week. Rick says, I gave a stream a like. Right on. Everybody, before you leave, if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up on your way out and make sure that somehow you are still subscribed to the channel. I've heard that. People get unsubscribed from time to time. It's even happened to myself. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time, hanging out with me here at Home Built Workshop. Hope you all have an awesome week. Get on your shops, build some cool things. Enjoy the weather outside as the seasons, they are a-changing. Harry Dude, if yours is getting nice, ours is going the opposite way. So anyway, you guys, thanks again so much. I appreciate all of you. And I look forward to hanging out with all of you next week as well. Stay safe, stay well, everybody. Thanks a lot. Take care. And we'll see you all next time. We'll see you later.